Hello students, in this video we are going to see about the play Romeo and Juliet. I divided the play into three parts because it's a lengthy one. I divided into three parts. The first one is the dramatic personage and brief story of the Romeo and Juliet, and the next part is Act 1 and Act 2, and the third part is Act 3, 4 and 5. Let us come to the first part, Romeo and Juliet, dramatist personage. Let us see the characters taken place in the Romeo and Juliet. First the chorus, then Aeschylus, Prince of Verona, then Paris, a young nobleman, kinsman to prince. Next characters, Montague and Capulet, heads of two houses at variance with each other. Next, an old man, uncle to Capulet. And next character is Romeo, he is the son to Montague. Next one is Mercutio, kinsman to the prince and friend to Romeo. Next one is Benvolio, he is a nephew to Montague and friend to Romeo. Next one is Tybalt, he is the nephew to Lady Capulet. And Friar Lawrence, a Francis man. Next, Friar John, he of the same order. And next one is Balthasar, he is the servant to Romeo. And next characters, Samson and Gregory, they are the servants to Capulet. Next one is the Peter, he is the servant to Juliet's nurse. And next one is Abraham, he is the servant to Montague. And an apothecary, three musicians, page to Paris, another page, an officer. Next one is Lady Montague, wife to Montague, then Lady Capulet, wife to Capulet. Next the character is the Juliet, she is the daughter to the Capulet. And next one is the nurse to Juliet. Next the citizens of Verona, king forts of both houses, masquers, torchbearers, guards, watchmen and attendants. Next we pass on to the source of the play. The source of the play, the story of the pair of star-crossed lovers must be a very old one. The first to refer to is Novello of Masaccio Salamitano. The story of a Maraccio Mignanelli and Gianosa Saracenia comes closer in many points to that of Romeo and Juliet. The correspondence and verisimilitude become striking when we come to the Historia Novellamento Nitrovato Due Nobili Armanti of Luigi da Porcia, published as at Venice, mentioned a Bandalo to whom Shakespeare is several times indebted. The tale is told in his novello of 1554, and it is the most important of these early versions, and a nurse, but not Shakespeare's nurse, appears for the first time. Boisteau gave his French version to the Histories Tragicus of Belleforest in 1559. The French volume might have been with Shakespeare when we wrote the play. Who knows that Shakespeare might not have two copies of the earlier play on the subject referred to by Brooke. This is all conjecture as we have said above. Shakespeare's immediate source or authority is Arthur Brooke's Romeo and Juliet. The prose version of William Painter might have been read by Shakespeare, but no worth mentioning and could have come from it. The question is how Shakespeare dealt with his source when it is pretty certain that Brooke supplied the raw material for the story of Romeo and Juliet. No one will deny that Shakespeare has made out of it the deathless tragedy of love and death. The charm, the beauty of the power of the play are all Shakespeare's and could not have been contributed by Brooks or by any writer. Italian or French, we may quote a passage from Brooke's poem, and how she gave her suck in youth, she leaves not to fell a pretty babe, it was when it was young, Lord, how it could pretty have prated with its long. Compares with Act 1 and Act 1 Scene 3, 10 to 60 lines. It is a dialogue between Lady Capulet and nurse. We may excuse the garrulity of the old nurse, and there is the imitable and forgettable picture of Juliet when she was a baby girl and is now no more than 14 and soon to blossom into a woman at the touch of love. There is an interesting development in the character of Romeo too. Shakespeare recreates the character of the nurse, the cynical wit of Mercuric, well placed as it in the Shakespeare, in the context of the tragedy, could have been invented by none by Shakespeare. Then again the finer elements in the character of Friar Lawrence are necessarily that Shakespeare could have thought of supplying a sort of balance, though ineffective, against the impetuosity of passion in Romeo. Benvolio is presented as a sober character, and he is aloof and dispassionate. He is also necessary as a contrast. Tybalt is one torn by rage and violences, and he too is brought into contrast with Romeo, who keeps his patience when he is provoked by Tybalt's insults. And we must say that Tybalt deserves his doom when he attacks Romeo. The variety of characters and scenes and the undercurrent of contrast throughout the play reveal the superb skill and craftsmanship of Shakespeare when he could have been no more than 30 years of age. This local color and atmosphere of the play are no less striking. It is essentially the southern atmosphere that infiltrates into the play. We may quote here the words of Charles. Why does not recall these lovely summer nights in which the forces of nature seem eager for development of constrained to remain in drowsily languor, a mingling of intense heat, superabundant energy, imperious power, and silent freshness. The nightingale sings in the depths of the woods. The flower cups are half closed. A pale luster is shed over the foliage of the forests and upon the brow of the hills. The deep response conceals, we are aware, present force, the melancholy rivers of nature in the mask of a passionate emotion. Under the paleness and the coolness of the night, you divine restrained at the orders, the flowers which brood in silence, impatient to shine forth. Such is the peculiar atmosphere with which Shakespeare has enveloped of the most wonderful creations of Romeo and Juliet. Not only the substance, but the forms of the language come from the south. It was the inventor of the tale it was the inventor of the tale. She drew it from her national memorials, her old family fjords, her annals filled with amorous and bloody intrigues. In its lyric accent, its blindness of passion, as blossoming and abundant vitality, in the brilliant imagery, in the bold composition, no one can fail to recognize Italy. Romeo utters himself like a sonnet of Petrarch, with the same refined choice and the same antithesis. There is the same grace and the same pleasure in allegorical stanzas. Juliet too, wholly the woman of Italy, with a small gift of forethought, and absolutely ingenious in her abandon, she is at once vehement and pure. This is the source of the play Romeo and Juliet. Let us pass on to the story in brief. Romeo is the son of Montague and Lady Montague, while Juliet is the daughter of Capulet and Lady Capulet. There has been a long standing antagonism between the two families called the Capulets and the Montagues, who live in the kingdom of Verona. Romeo and Juliet fall in love with each other at first sight when they happen to meet at Juliet's house when her father is holding a banquet and a dance to which Romeo had not been formally invited, but to watch he had come masked in the company of a few friends of his. It is only after Romeo and Juliet have actually fallen under each other's spell that they discover each other's true identity. They now both realize the danger to which they would be exposing themselves in their love them from the passion which each has conceived from other. Romeo seeks the help of a friar to get married to Juliet. The friar agrees to perform the ceremony of marriage between Romeo and Juliet. The marriage must be performed secretly, because if this love affair between these two becomes known to their parents, of either they would react most angrily to it and would take every positive measure to prevent not only their getting married but their meeting each other in future. And so the lovers get married in secret. The same day Romeo gets involved in the fight with Tybalt, who is a cousin of Juliet. Tybalt is killed in the fight, and then Romeo is then banished by the Prince of Verona for having committed a murder. Romeo has now to leave Verona. However, he is able to meet Juliet at night and to consummate the marriage before leaving Verona at dawn. As already indicated, the parents do not know of this marriage. Capulet now arranges his daughter's marriage with a handsome and rich young nobleman by the name of Paris. Juliet cannot get married for the second time, nor can she tell her father that she is already married. She therefore seeks Friar Lawrence's advice. The friar gives her a potion and bids her to take it at night at bedtime. This potion would send Juliet into swoon, remembering death. Thinking her to be dead, her parents would arrange the funeral and would have her buried in the family vault of the Capulets. Juliet would wake up from this drudged sleep after a gap of 42 hours. 42 hours. Meanwhile, the friar would send for Romeo, who is now in Mantua, and who would join the friar in the family vault of the Capulets to open the grave exactly at the time when she would wake up. Then Romeo would carry her off to Mantua, beyond the reach of her parents. Juliet does take the portion as advised by the friar. Everything goes off well, but the friar's message does not reach Romeo, so that Romeo does not know anything about Juliet's having deliberately taken the portion given to her by the friar. Juliet is buried in the family vault of the Capulets, though she is not actually dead. Romeo gets the wrong news that Juliet has died and is buried. He finds no purpose in life without Juliet. He hurriedly obtains a deadly poison from a chemist and rushes to the Capulets' family vault in order to kill himself by the side of Juliet's body. There he is challenged by Paris, the young nobleman who wanted to marry Juliet and who has come to strew flowers on her grave. In the fight that ensues, Paris is killed. Romeo then digs out Juliet's body, and after embarrassing and kissing Juliet for the last time, he drinks the poison which he had brought with him. The friar now arrives in accordance with the promise he had given to Juliet. He is dismayed to find Romeo and Paris lying dead by Juliet's side. Juliet wakes up from her death like slumber, and finding Romeo dead, kills herself with a dagger over the dead bodies of their children. Montague and Capulet get reconciled with each other, and the prince says that there never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. So this is the brief story of Romeo and Juliet. Thank you one and all.